it's me, Brian. Got me a new camera. I've had one of these before. Right? Most of the bike adventure and a lot of the how-to projects and the stuff at the house back on Schultz Avenue in Roosevelt in Phoenix was shot with a camera just like this. Just got this one the other day. Right? I mean, it was refurbished. I bought through one of the partner stores on eBay. It was 20 bucks. Right? Understand? You know, it's a really fairly new camera because it's got the original SD card in it, and I don't know if the young lady that actually owned it realized this or not, that there was still a number of pictures on the SD card. I've, you know, gratefully deleted them for her, you know what I'm saying, never to be seen again, right? And but they weren't bad, they were cool pictures, you know what I'm saying? Right? I mean, yeah, I've tested it, you know what I'm saying, it works exactly the way the other one does, except this is a different model. The one I had before was the L27 Courious by Nikon. That one was, I think, 12 megapixel camera lens, right, with 5x zoom. This one is the S3100. Basically the same camera, except this one doesn't have the AA battery box, so it's a little thinner. This one uses a chargeable Nikon, you know, ion, whatever the frig, super battery. Right, and I'm saying we charged it up the other day. It's still got, you know, pretty much full charge. Right, it's got a 4 gig card in it, so it's only got like about maybe 12-15 minutes of video time, maybe 20 outside tops. You know, it shoots 1080p, right, and it takes really good still pictures, and it has a lot of settings. Right. It has a lot of settings, you know, saying for different, you know, lens camera settings and stuff. You know, it's got a smile portrait and night vision. Well, it doesn't have night vision, but it's nighttime pictures, you know, beach, food, all kind of different ones, right, and stuff like that, right. And as you can see, he's got a little telephoto lens. You know, I think this one is 8 times, right. And I'm saying I don't, you know, I mean, big deal. I got this camera because I wanted another angle perspective camera, you know, since I could blend your videos together and stuff like that, right. And so I'll do a full review on this camera here in a couple more weeks, you know what I'm saying, once I get all the particulars back down and I remember how it works, and I figure out how to integrate it in with my little Hackintosh, right, because I'm gonna have to use the Hackintosh to process the videos off of this camera now. So right, whether, you know, whether I can get it to connect to the internet or not is a different story, but at least I can still use the machine, right. Anyways, as you can see, it is extremely windy today. I believe Teresa just said it was, what, 20 to 30 mile an hour sustained winds, gusting up to, what, 41 or something? Yeah, and I showed you the little windmill outside. But, okay, so it's extremely difficult to try to do anything outside. Right, even Farmer Brown across the road over here is usually out dragging his tractor around, you know what I'm saying, tending to his cows and stuff. Even he's holed up in the house with the doggy. and homeboy's out there to crack it down every morning, bless his heart, you know what I'm saying, and he's out there all day, and he's older than me. But anyways, well, I wanted to talk to you guys this morning about something that's kind of, you know, it's been an interest of mine for you know, for most of my life. I've tried to study as much, you know, get as much information on this subject as I possibly could before I made a, you know, decision or determination as to what I thought. Alright? And I was just watching some stuff now, right? This one video that was made by the royal family, the Royal Commission, right, in Saudi Arabia, because the king and his prince's sons, they have finally decided their country has finally moved forward enough technically, you know what I'm saying, to be a competitive entity in the world market, in the world stage. Saudi Arabia, they got billions. We know this. That's where most of our gas comes from. But anyways, over the course of the last, you know, King Saud's lifetime, right, and saying they have been building the infrastructure of their country, Saudi Arabia, and they have some really cool stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? But the focus right now is on the archaeological treasures that the country itself possesses. Because you remember, you know, Saudi Arabia is part of the world that's called the Fertile Crescent and the cradle of civilization. Right? You know, the Mesopotamians, the Egyptians, the Hittites, the Syrians, the Phoenicians, right? You know what I'm saying? The Arabians, right? You know, people from, you know, Yemen and All of them, they're all the Bedouin tribes. I mean, all of these people have a very rich cultural history. They do, and it dates back. And they're finding out now that it dates back, farther than 7,000 years, right? And then because unknown to Western society, right now, right, there's a whole lot of archaeological evidence, right, of previous civilizations and their sophistication in the way that they built things and in their monuments and in their daily structures, right, that point to a direct connection to the gods, right, or in what that ancient alien dude has been talking about for the last 10 years, the Anunnaki. Now, there's gigabytes, zillabytes, you might say gigantobytes of data on the ancient aliens and the Anunnaki. But for the most part, for me, right, I mean, none of it deals with the day-to-day function of what they did and how, and if we were engineered to be their helpers, what we did on a daily basis every day to further their aims and their goals. Because remember, they came here for a reason. The reason was the metal. Okay, so in my view, my estimation, if I was one of the archaeologists, right, investigating some of these sites, I would be looking at it in a way where if the gods were what they were, if all of this stuff that dude says is real, right, then how did we work every day? What did we do? Like, I was just watching this one about this one place called Alula in the northeastern part of the Saudi country, right, where they found these structures that are dated not quite as old as Göbekli Tepe, mind you, over Turkey, but 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 years old. They're finding these structures, right, that they're long, rectangular, right, enclosed structures, right, with chambers in between. Now, this one that they did the little documentary on, right, it was a unique one because it was built at the base of a rock outcropping, right, and it was built on a slope on a downhill. And you could see when you looked at the 3D representation that they made with the drone data, right, you could see at the upper level where up against the rock where the fire hearths were and the structure and the infrastructure for the little tiny village, right, you could see a lower area where there was a water basin, and then as it flows down the hill at the bottom, you could see another little area for a water basin where the natural flow of the water flowed down the mountain when it rained. You know what I'm saying? And then the long rectangular structure, in this case, it's like, I think they say 80 something meters long, right, and like about 20 meters wide, and it had all these little chambers in between. To me, what I see is I see a little, like, let's flash forward a couple of eons and see how they how their culture and how they work now. They work in little tiny controlled little areas, and there's one guy pounding away with whatever he does. But you could picture this 10,000 years ago, 20 or 30 guys in a little work area, instead of pounding away doing whatever it is the god, or in this case, whoever the captain was that was in charge of his unit, right? Right? That was our job. Right? They have literally found 12,000, right, of these archaeological sites over this, vast area. It's 22,000 kilometers square, of these little structures, of all these little things. But mainstream archaeology, for some unknown reason, they always think this. They think that it's all burial tombs and it's related to, these guys are discovering a different thing because you're looking at it from a different perspective. They're discovering how humans in this region, right, now remember the discussion we're having here, right? Humans in this region who were now being left because the gods have succeeded in their mission. Their mission has come to an end. It's time for them to leave and go back to their home planet, right? And there's this great big war going on between the gods as to what to do with this because they violated the, number one, right? Right? And that was not to fuck with anything. Star Trek, remember, right? But they did, and by now, because they've been here for, 500,000 years, right? And in that 500,000 years, we have progressed with their genetic, boosts, right? We have progressed to these human beings to the point because we're no different today than they were then, and from a physical standpoint, right? Now they were being left to themselves. So the last part of, in my view, the last part of the mission of the Anunnaki was to prepare the humans. Once they decided the war up there in heaven, between the gods and what was going to happen, Enlil tried to bomb us. Enki tried to save us by moving this experimental labs and shit over there to Machu Picchu and the Andean Mountains. You know what I'm saying? And the gold shipping places that were down there around the corner of Africa, they were sending up metals like mad, trying to fill the spaceship so they could leave. So in the end part of their mission, right, 10,000, 12,000 years ago, you know what I'm saying? Right, some of the officers were tasked with now teaching their tribes, because remember there were 13 tribes. Right, now teaching their tribes how to civilize themselves and to coexist with other tribes instead of fighting all the time and trying to gain metal and try to gain, instead of fighting all the time, now band together, right? And let's, create a civilization to move forward, because the gods are not going to be here to protect us no more, bro, with their flying wordy things and their electric bombs, right? You understand? So, hey, and then that's, and that's, in my view, that's what Göbekli Tepe was the launch site for them to leave. Now, here's my disclaimer. Okay. Now, you would think that the way that I described this idea, you know what I'm saying, that I'm a true believer that we are created beings, from the DNA of other, better beings, you know what I'm saying, that seeded this planet and took off. Okay, well, there's a lot of people who believe that. So for me, there's some merit in it, because there's enough archaeological and physical evidence left behind on this planet. You know what I'm saying? But you have to look at it from the right perspective. You have to look at it for the right reason why it's there. Not some fake, religious, oh my God, the gods left us right here, it's gotta be. No. There was a reason why they left it there. If they came here and they did the mining and excavate and the building, Petra, right? The Danis over there in Saudi Arabia. The pyramids. If they had us do all of this work for them, right? You understand? Right? They intended on being here for a very long time. Right? So, like I said, my point is from the day-to-day perspective of what was done with all of us helpers that existed, because there are some archaeological sites that boast of thousands and thousands of grave sites. You know what I'm saying? And some, and like they just discovered over there, Stonehenge. Stonehenge wasn't just a monument. They got this concentric ring of villages around it and around it. There could have been as many as 15,000 people that lived there, right, when they were building Stonehenge, right? So, yeah, the wind. The wind makes you think about crazy shit, right? Now, I think, but I'll just get back to this thing. I'm a trained pagan. I believe in the old gods anyway. I have all my life. And I practice my rituals. I do what I need to do, right, to keep my harmony, to keep my flow going. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a believer. I believe there's something bigger than us. You know what I'm saying? I know for a fact that there are things way, way, way more important than us. You know what I'm saying? But the simple fact still remains. You know what I'm saying? If they did come from the planet Nibiru, which is, at this moment as we speak, hurtling towards us on its, its orbital path around our star, you know what I'm saying? They're going to go by us again, right? It's not going to be in our lifetimes. It's not due not to happen for another 300 some odd years. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to happen just like it's happened previously in the past. And if you add it up, you know what I'm saying? Right? Just gone by, a good handful of times, right, since all of this supposedly, allegedly started way back when the Anunnaki landed here the very first time, right between the rivers over there in the land of the river. Right? So, I got other ideas and I think about other stuff, and I know how to put, I've learned how to put together What I think it is they're trying to convince me that it's a burial site. But I see different things. I see machines. I see just if you watch some of the videos of some of the craftsmen right over there in Pujanistab and Tajikistan and don't watch the video for what it is they're making. Watch the video for how it is that they're making it, and how primitive and how quickly using primitive ideas and tools. You understand that some of them don't even have electricity. They do have foot power. You know what I'm saying? But to watch them make something ornate and beautiful, right, in a matter of minutes, you know what I'm saying, out of raw material, using nothing more than their foot rolling back and forth, right? You take that back 8,000 years and see, 50 of these dudes, right, you know what I'm saying, all happily fucking singing along, fucking making their little machine or whatever little part they need, or processing whatever kind of, material that the gods needed to be processed so they could ship the stuff down yonder so that the people down there could, send it up into little magnetic things, load it on the spaceship. That was their mission. Their mission wasn't to come here and, create human beings and be gods and all of that weird archaeological mainstream stuff. Right? They came here for a reason.
Come on!
Right? You know what I'm saying? Now, the archaeological teams that are over there in Saudi Arabia now are approaching this with the idea, saying that these structures are not just holy relics or tombs. Yeah, they buried people where they worked at. Maybe it was the boss that was like 80 years old, you know what I'm saying? And he'd been boss like 40 years. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they buried homeboy in his spot. Right? They're finding evidence of domesticated cattle in with the leavings, the bones, of the butchered animals, saying they used to feed the people that lived in this little community. Because remember, there's got to be 150 of them living in this, big ass enclosure, right? Working their little job, right? Because back then, that part of Saudi Arabia, that part of, East Asia, right? Or West Asia, right, was fertile. It was lush. They supported all kinds of different animals, just like the Serengeti did over there in Africa back in the day, and it still tries to, but global warming's putting a dent in that, right? But they're finding evidence that these people were civilizing themselves not slowly over decades, but as every decade. In these 10 years, they advanced in this technology. In these 10 more, they advanced in husbandry. In these 10 million more, they advanced, right? Because they were learning how to coexist with each other, right? And how to use each one's particular skills. Because everybody had a job. Remember, they all worked for the gods. Well, whoever homeboy was, he came down every, couple of days, right, to check on the progress. Right? Because according to all the stories, if you read the book of Enki, right, and you read the book of Enoch, and you read some of the other scriptures that are related to the ancient alien theories, right, if you read them with a different mindset, with the mindset of mission commander, right, and you read these books as reports, as status reports of what was going on and what was happening, you know what I'm saying? Because they were a very, according to all of the information that we have, they were a very volatile race of individuals themselves. And we got part of their DNA. Maybe that's why we're killing everybody all the damn time. Anyway, I know a lot of you guys can make some wild comments. Anyway, sorry about the interruption. Right? But if you're going to make, think about it from my perspective. You do a little research on your own. Read a little bit of some of this stuff. Watch some of the videos. Right? And then investigate a little bit wider past the mainstream archaeological ideas. Because remember, a lot of time, at least half of the shit that they've dug up and said was this, was that, and that was this, they were wrong. Please like and subscribe and share this video if you think it's interesting enough for other people to know about. Thank you.